Executing bank shots in pool is easier than you think, but honestly, many players still guess them. Too short, too long. I'm sorry, but this is the sad truth. Stop guessing. It is not luck. It is calculated execution. My name is Adam, and in today's video I'm gonna explain all the key principles you need to understand, along with the two most effective systems to help you stop guessing and start executing those annoying bank shots for breakfast. And speaking of breakfast, it's coffee time. Let's bank it. First thing we need to understand is angle of incidence and angle of reflection, and what factors affect the trajectory of the balls. Take a look at this situation. I need to play a one-rail bank shot into this side pocket, and if we draw a straight line through the center of both balls and we mirror it, then we will get a natural line illustrating in which direction the object ball will go. This means that if we hit the object ball perfectly straight using a little topspin and natural speed, then after contacting the rail, the object ball goes directly toward the side pocket. And this happens because the angle of reflection is equal to the angle of incidence, and because we used natural speed and natural rotation, the object ball followed the correct path. But at this point, it is very important to say that speed and spin are extremely important when executing bank shots and kick shots as well. Let's look at the same shot again. If I use less speed, even though I hit the same pot on the rail, the object ball goes slightly longer. But on the other hand, if I use more speed, the object ball goes shorter. And this happens because due to high amount of speed, the object ball doesn't have enough time to develop a full natural roll before hitting the rail. At this point, it is worth mentioning that side spin also plays a huge role in bank shots, because if I use left spin, the object ball goes long, but if I use right spin, the object ball goes short. And this happens because of two important effects called spin-induced throw and spin transfer. Spin-induced throw means that when you apply side spin, the cue ball slightly pushes the object ball to one side during contact. But spin transfer means that the cue ball transfers opposite rotation to the object ball, and this is very easy to see in slow motion. For example, if I hit this tri-ball perfectly straight with center ball, it rotates with topspin. If I use right spin, the cue ball pushes the object ball slightly to the left and transfers left rotation. However, if I use left spin, the cue ball pushes the object ball slightly to the right and transfers right rotation. The difference between the rotations is very visible when we compare both scenarios in slow motion. Speed and spin are critical when executing bank shots, but also very important is leaving a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel, because then you will never miss my new videos. And this is the moment where we need to talk about this situation. We need to play a bank shot on the one ball into this corner pocket, but both the cue ball and the object ball are in random positions, and we are not sure where the correct rail contact point is. In this situation, we can use first system, and we start by numbering both long rails. You need to number each diamond with a full number, 1, 2, 3, and so on, and make sure both long rails are numbered in the same direction. At this point, you can connect each full number on the left long rail to the same number divided by 2 on the opposite long rail. This action creates our reference track lines, and if you look closely, then we can see that the one ball is located exactly on reference line number 3. This means our goal is quite simple, because we can hit the object ball straight along that reference line to pocket it. But remember, use natural speed and natural rotation, because that's how you get the correct angle of reflection. Alright, but you might ask me what happens if the object ball is not exactly on one of the reference lines. This is a very good question, and in that case you need to take the closest reference lines and shift to the center of the object ball, which gives you a new aiming point on the rail. Using this adjustment, this system works anywhere on the table when bunking into the corner pockets, as long as you can visualize the lines and apply the correct speed and spin. At this point, it is worth mentioning a situation where the object ball is quite close to the rail. Following the previous system, if I hit this 9 ball perfectly straight with natural speed, it goes right towards the pocket. Increasing speed causes the 9 ball to go too short and hit the rail right before the pocket. However, the situation changes significantly when the 9 ball is much closer to the rail. In this situation, both the low speed shot and the high speed shot cause the 9 ball to go too short. And this is because the short distance between the 9 ball and the rail means it doesn't have enough time to develop a full natural roll before hitting the rail. This means we either have to aim a little thinner or simply add some side spin to send the 9 ball towards the pocket. Okay, but sometimes you will face a situation where the cue ball and the object ball are lined up perfectly and the object ball is almost frozen to the rail. If you hit it straight, there will be a double kiss. To avoid this, you must hit the object ball thinner. However, if we use natural speed and center ball, the object ball goes too long, so in this case you have to use much more speed and apply a lot of right spin. This combination of high speed and right spin shortens the angle of reflection enough to pocket the ball cleanly. But now let me show you a very interesting advanced example. We are shooting the final 8 ball and this corner pocket is blocked by a solid ball, so we have to execute a bank shot into that corner pocket. However, the biggest problem makes this solid ball, which partially blocks our natural contact point on the rail. In this case, we must use spin transfer to change the natural path of the 8 ball. In first variation, we need to aim the 8 ball behind the blocking ball. We have to apply more speed and a lot of right spin, because this action transfers left rotation to the 8 ball, which shallows the angle of reflection and sends it on a completely different path, allowing us to pocket it. In the second variation, if the blocking ball is moved slightly, now we must hit the 8 ball before that ball. We need to apply a lot of left spin and use less speed, because this action transfers right rotation to the 8 ball, opening the angle and sending it toward the corner pocket. And this is the right time to leave those considerations and talk about bank shots into the side pocket, where the first system doesn't work. This is where the second system comes, and in the first step you need to imagine a line from the center of the object ball to the rail's edge. From that point you need to draw a line to this side pocket. This is your first reference line, and now you need to draw another line from the object ball to the opposite side pocket. These lines will cross, creating a new point, and from that crossing point draw a final line to the long rail's edge. That point on the rail is your final aiming point, and remember, use natural speed and natural rotation. This system works anywhere on the table for one-rail banks into the side pocket, but what is even more powerful, you can also use it when you need to make a bank shot into the corner pocket. Okay, at this point you are probably asking yourself, why do we need the first system if we can use only the second one? When making bank shots into the side pocket, we experience smaller angles in most cases, which makes imagining the crossing point much easier than when we are dealing with bank shot into the corner pocket, especially when the angle is quite large. This means that when we make bank shot into the corner pocket, it is much easier to indicate our final aiming point using track lines. Alright, I promised only 2 systems, and there will be no more. However, there's one simple trick you can start using right now. To calculate our aiming point, we are going to use something called the spot on the wall. I know it sounds a bit strange, but stick with me, it really works. Let's say you need to pocket the 9 ball into that corner pocket. The first thing we need to do is remember how we marked track lines in the first system by connecting numbers on opposite diamonds on the side rails. In this particular case, we are going to use the track line that runs from the 4th to the 2nd diamond, and this line will be our reference. And right now, here is the key part. If we extend this line past the table surface by about 5 feet, it will point to a spot somewhere off the table, usually on a wall. In my case, I marked that spot using a training ball placed on my cue case, and here is the most powerful part. No matter where the cue ball or the object ball is, if you aim at this spot, you can pocket the 9 ball into that corner pocket. And just like before, you need to hit the cue ball almost at its center and use a natural controlled speed. If you want to pocket the 9 ball into the opposite corner pocket, the idea is exactly the same. You simply calculate 2 different spots on the wall, depending on which side of the table you are shooting from. Okay, but at this point, another very important question arises. Why do we actually look for our spot on the wall about 5 feet from the table, and is this a reliable aiming method? The answer is actually very simple, and imagine that we place an object ball on every track line from 1 to 7. If we extend all those lines, at some point they cross each other, creating a point past the table surface, and this point is located around 5 feet from the table. Okay, and one more bonus. You can also use the spot on the wall for bank shots into the side pocket. But this time, all you need to do is extend the track lines that go from the corner pockets to the 2nd diamonds on the opposite side rail, again by about 5 feet, and that extension gives you your final aiming point you can aim the object ball at. Simple, visual, and incredibly effective, right? As you may have noticed, my videos feature a lot of diagrams that you can create yourself at poolbilliards.co. You can try premium membership with 20% off using the link in the description. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this. Stop guessing your bank shots. It is not luck. It is a system. Learn it, trust it, and start executing with confidence. If you enjoyed this video and you found this knowledge helpful, please make sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what do you think about these systems. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Take care.